Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 20 of the Old World Behemoths. My name is Alasdair. I am a behemoth. I'm going to call it this week for just surviving and managing to organize what we've managed to organize for this coming weekend, when we will be hosting our second Legacies of War doubles narrative doubles, I should say, event. With me this evening is Alex. Hello, Alex. Why are you a behemoth?
Back, baby. We're back after a 2-week hiatus. And I have to say, I don't think my 3D printer has been working more than it has in the past week in terms of printing objective tokens. For some reason, Alasdair, someone, me, thought it was a good idea to print forests, new buildings. And I have to say, I've had a lot of fun doing it, but that's what makes me a behemoth this week, is the fact that I've used probably 6 rolls of filament, which to Jeff, he uses that in about an hour, but still.
I mean, Jeff, in fairness' sake, has 17 printers running at the same time. So yeah, I would imagine he would use that in an hour. But yes, I mean, I think you should definitely revel in your efforts. You've done an amazing job. We will share with.
We will see some photos.
Yes, anyone who's watching this on YouTube, some of the amazing work Alex is doing. I think you're becoming a professional terrain painter, Alex.
Terrain painter. They are for sale. $500 a piece, cash.
You gotta get that Etsy markup somewhere, even if you don't put them on Etsy.
No, cash in hand.
Cash in hand. Big thank you, as always, to our patrons: F1942, Ghost, Pan and Wargaming, Joshua Sick, Silver Dave, Gomo Boned, Earl of Kent, Ulazed, Western Sydney Wargamers, The Orange Juice of Big Daddy H, Torytown 69, Prophet of Sotek, and James Alexander. Thank you so much for being a patron of the pod. If you'd like to become a patron, please, you'll find the link in the show notes or the description wherever you happen to be listening or watching the episode. Thank you, of course, to 25 Creative for your continued support with our graphic design for the Old World Behemoths podcast. I think we, this evening, have a very fixed agenda. I teased, I didn't tease, I said we're working on an event this weekend. We are doing the second installment of Legacies of War, our narrative doubles event series. We've got 10 teams coming, so 20 players coming to be part of that. And we've got a few things that we thought, hey, we're 2 days away now from recording this event. We're doing this on the Thursday night before the event. We're 2 days away. Maybe we should put some spoilers in. Maybe we should share some things.
We probably should.
Yeah.
We probably should. People have been asking, when are the pairings coming out, Alasdair?
Yes, they have. And special call out, no relation, but to those who have recently discovered the pod as a result of coming to the event. Thank you so much for joining us and subscribing and watching the episodes. We very much appreciate you. This event series, our narrative events, we have decided to sort of do them a little bit differently to your standard everyday events that you're going to, in 2 aspects. And we'll talk about one of them in terms of a platform that we're using, but more in terms of how we run and prepare for the events. So we do not share pairings or lists ahead of the events. As part of the story and surprise, we like seeing players interacting and looking at each other's lists on the day, sharing their stories. It is a narrative event. It's not a really competitive heavy event. I will say congratulations to all of our participants this time around as well for their list submissions. We're using a slightly amended battle march, and everyone has taken that in the absolute spirit that we intended, and everyone's lists are thematic and amazing, and no one is exploitative. No one has put any sort of power gaming stuff in there. Though we did have some potential worries that maybe there were a couple of things that we didn't think of.
No
No one's
Cathay
done that.
balloons. No Cathay balloons. In
No
fact,
Cathay
I don't think
balloons.
we know Cathay at all.
No Cathay at all. And we will talk about the new FAQs and everything else in our next episode when we manage to get all the boys together and talk about the impacts of that. And maybe that had something to do with it. We are maybe the first event, maybe one of the first events to be running with the new FAQ. So
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. So no Cathay balloons, despite the fact that at Battle March at 750 points, in all of its absurdity, you could take 3 balloons. There is
we wouldn't have
plausible.
let you.
No, we wouldn't have let you, but you could.
We wouldn't have let you.
You could have. You could have.
6 balloons between 2 Cathay doubles partners, but one we would have allowed. I think the call out Alasdair as well about, we don't reveal lists. Shout out to Pete, who just emailed back the entire tournament his army list, which then
it led to a cascade. Yeah,
a cascade of a few up.
So that, I mean, look, that said, we're not going to do it, but we appreciate that our players have been emailing each other and emailing us with their lists and their stories, and they're eager to share them with each other as well.
Yeah, good point. That last time we ran this, I would say there was a mixed effort level, let's go with that, of narrative submissions, whereas now, I don't think there was a single one that didn't have a narrative attached to it.
And a decent go at a narrative.
A go.
For all of them.
I will admit, like I did last time.
How many did you run through the AI?
I did run a few, and remarkably, it was low. So my continued skepticism of our player base is continually, catching me off guard. So props to those out there that
not in defense of anyone who has used it or would use it. It's absolutely
fine. I would totally
fine.
use it.
It's absolutely fine
use it.
to use it. But Alex's neuroticisms are something that we all just have to learn to deal with. It was more Dave and
Pete. Like more, I just wanted to make sure that they were putting their
they were doing
as the returning champs.
And with that in mind, I'm confident that Pete is going to turn up in full skull makeup for the day to represent the Musalon vampires that he is bringing. And
I thought you were saying like the lead singer from Ghost.
I mean, look, he could, but
the full mask and everything.
As far as the event goes, I'm actually very excited. Last time we had quite a few teams dressing up and bringing props. I'm very excited to see what that looks like this time around as well. I know we do have a couple of teams returning who put a lot of effort in last time. I'm hoping that we see the same from them again this time around. But we also, in the spirit of spoilers, we wanted to share one of the big changes or the big debuts of new mechanic, a new event that we've brought in this time around, which is our wild cards, which you've probably been staring at for a while if you've been watching on YouTube. But the wild cards are meant to represent the locations and the denizens of the narrative location where the battles are taking place. This place called the Shard Hollow. Its story is that it is an environment drenched in magic and history, and chaos has warped it over countless centuries of battle into this mishmash of environments and magical storms and all of those sorts of things. So what we've brought together, or what we've put together, are 12 unique wild cards that tell a little bit of a narrative story of one of these weather conditions or events happening as part of the battle. And for each round, at some point in their battle, Alex and I will be wandering around introducing wild cards into the games. They come into play at the start of a battle round. So, say everyone goes into turn 2 or everyone goes into turn 3. Before any team gets the chance to take their turn, we introduce the wild card. And the wild card has some immediate effects, things that happen right now. If you tick over to the next slide, we can see it for the Sirocco of Shattered Winds, of Shattered Time, excuse me. It has some immediate effects that happen right as the wild card gets revealed, and then it has some permanent and ongoing effects. And these range in, call it, intensity. There are some that are relatively light, but still thematic and interesting. Some have more impact on the immediate. Some have more impact on the permanent effects. It's a real mix to give, no matter what happens when one of these wild cards pops up and starts to influence the game, it's going to cause chaos and different a changing of the scales of the battle potentially, and different things to happen and force you maybe to think about playing slightly differently, all in the service of building again a narrative experience. So it's not just the games of Warhammer we play, but there is something that you can play around, you can experience. In terms of this one, this is the Sirocco of Shattered Time. This is like a temporal sandstorm that sweeps through the battlefield, and warriors are caught in moments that haven't happened yet. They watch themselves die in a future that's yet to happen. They see themselves marching to the battle. They get confused over what's happening. It is a sandstorm. Shards of sand and glass are flying through the air, and time is warping and slowing. Entropy is kicking in. It's has some those immediate impacts are more around, well, what happens when the sandstorm sweeps in. So charges suffer, missile weapons suffer, ground suddenly becomes treacherous as the sand, pulls at legs and gets underfoot. And as the center of the storm, the eye of the storm sweeps through, this heavy magical effect kicks in and potentially damages or hurts units that are caught in that eye of the storm. And then following that, to sort of represent the confusion that's left as the warriors are trying to figure out, well, where am I and when am I? There is a -1 to leadership tests and break tests for the rest of the game for everyone, as all of the soldiers and warriors are sort of struggling with that. So this is just one of, like I said, one of 12. We've debuted this one to our players already. They've had the chance to get a good look. I'm super excited because I have them all printed, and I've got these beautiful cards that I get to hand out, these glossy 350 GSM amazing cards to hand out, so that they're this real tactile experience on the day. It's going to be really interesting. I'm really keen to see what happens. I'm really interested to see what the player feedback is if we get someone saying, we were winning and then your stupid wild card kicked in and we lost the entire game. I'll be really interested to see whether we get any of those.
I would love for that to happen.
But
they won't. But
look, I'm sure it will probably be dramatic for a couple. The wild cards themselves, like I said, it ranges in intensity. Many of them are not such a big deal, and maybe they affect things that don't really affect you, like ranged weapons or spells if you haven't brought those. But then there are also plenty of things that deal direct damage to units, or force you to avoid terrain, or force you to make choices around what's the lesser of two evils for your army. So I'm very excited to see how the players interact with them and how they get into the experience. I think it's going to mean that every player's game, all 3 games of every player's game, of every player's day, geez, Alasdair, is going to be different, and different in a really unique way. Not just we played this different army and we did this, but this game was different because these things are happening and they're totally different to what happened last game. We are, of course, changing terrain. We are, of course, having 3 different maps. We're using match play guide rules straight out of the book this time, so that people can get familiar with match play progressive scoring. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we should, point out, like with the event last time, the victory points don't really matter all
Mm,
that much outside of it being a win, a loss, or a draw. And we're not going to be sitting there arguing about should I go and hide in a corner to try and get, save that 200 points. Like if you
definitely.
lost, you've lost. Like there's no if you lose by 1 point, you lose by 1 point.
Well,
Now on the
that's sorry to interrupt. That's a really interesting point that you do make, and something. Yeah, it's absolutely worthwhile that we flag. So, in terms of scoring, and we'll get to something that we're really keen to share with you in a second, which I imagine is where you were going, Alex. But uh, in terms of scoring, there is literally win, loss, draw for these events. So we don't have battle points. We don't have anything that's going to make it really complicated or force you to make nitty gritty decisions about saving a handful of points to bump you up a battle point bracket. It is literally win, loss, draw. And that comes down to as simple as if you have one more victory point than your opponent, then you win. So it's very much an all or nothing approach. You should approach it to fight and to win and to play your army as your army is intended to play. But it means that you, by the time it gets to the clinching point of, at this point, maybe I'm ahead a little bit, and if I withdraw or if I run away, um, then I remove the risk to myself and we go ahead and win. It instead encourages you to just keep playing, keep having the game, keep experiencing and engaging and having that together, because it could be a foregone conclusion that you're going to win at that point. It could swing back. It's a little bit more forgiving, however, in that respect, in that it is, again, it's just win, loss or draw. And literally the only way you can draw, because last time we had some interesting moments, but literally the only way that you can draw is if both teams end up with exactly the same number of victory points. And it's the only way
which
they can
never
draw.
happened.
Which I mean, now that you say it, it's definitely going to happen. But I don't see how that
Obviously,
would
and
realistically
and
happen.
we should point out as well that even though we have built it to discourage that behavior, there was none of that anyway.
There wasn't.
Which was like the memories I have from the last event were giant bricks of orcs getting stuck in terrain and immovable because, like, again, public service announcement for those people who actually didn't come to the last event. We don't play on a typical 6x4. We actually
Mm.
play on the AOS mats, which started out 100% purely a logistical thing where we play at Exiles and they mostly have AOS mats, but we've discovered that it's actually perfect
So much better.
for Battle March itself, but Battle March doubles even
Mm.
more so because of that extra smaller space with the terrain in there means that everyone's jammed in. So the big blocks of orcs was memorable.
I think we've got this time around, it's big blocks of goblins. There are so many
yeah.
goblins this time.
Yep.
There are ogre goblins, there are night goblins, there are hobgoblins. There are so many goblins.
Yep. Yep. That's probably one of my favorite armies at the event is the fact that it's like all goblins.
But
The goblin
you didn't read between
carnate.
the lines. You didn't read between the lines. One of our teams is coming along, and they've got an orcs and goblins goblin list, and they've paired that with a chaos dwarves entirely hobgoblin list. They are sort of slightly different rules, but they're sharing a lot of things and playing off each other. They are communist themed. Go back and look at
The Reds.
all of the names. Go back and look at the narrative that they
Oh,
sent
well.
through. It's a full communist themed goblin pairing list, and I cannot wait
I love it.
to
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see it and to see how they're going to approach games. I'm very 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 excited for it.
And we should point out that some of the list, including that list, had some very minor things in it, and this is more for the players on the day that might stand there and go, "Well, hang on a minute, how can that character who's half a point over the limit, literally
Well,
half a point,
in in
be
in
allowed?" And we sat there going, "I think you'll be okay
in yeah
for half a point
in
with a shield
fairness,
because of
we did not
the
specify.
narrative."
We did not specify around limits whether or not it's rounded up or rounded down. So
Yeah,
I'm
sure,
pretty sure someone has
sure.
a character that's so the character limit is technically 175.5. Oh, sorry, 187.5 points, and the character is 188 points. And
Totally
that
fine.
it just does not matter. It
Does
just
not
does not
matter.
matter. But
Does not
yes,
matter.
to your point, there is one that we want to call out, and I'm only calling it out because he'd want us to. So Pete, who we've just spoken about, is running Pete and Dave together. Lovely pair of tortuous gentlemen. They are running a night themed list. So Dave is running Bretonnian Knights, Errantry Crusade, I'm pretty sure. And Pete is running Vampire Counts, but he's running Black Knights, a Vampire Thrall, Blood Knights. It's very cavalry focused. And the reason that he's running that is because he bought some original box set Bretonians and he's painting them as
Musalon.
undead. So he's painting them as Musalon.
Yeah.
And we have allowed him to, in the spirit of this theme, because he came to us and he spoke about what he wanted to do. He wanted to include Blood Knights, and for anyone who's wondering or knows or is familiar with Blood Knights, I think Blood Knights come in at like 195 points, which is 10 points more than the rare cap at 750 points. So we've spoken about, well, what do we do? You have to take them as a unit of 5 if you pay for them sort of straight out. So what we've done is we've allowed Pete to reduce that unit cap size to 4. So he only gets 4 Blood Knights, and he has to make sure that it stays under that 187 points to make sure that it fits in rare. And we've done that, I suppose, again, in an effort to reinforce theme, because his alternative list, not that he was threatening us with an alternative list, but his alternative list was ethereal out the wazoo.
Ethereal, yeah, which we were borderline. We were monitoring how many magical attacks were coming in to go, look, man, if it's everyone's got mundane, it's not allowed. But
yeah. So,
but to everyone's trust, if you go against that list and get like 20 zeroed, I will be shocked. I would be shocked. It's not, and 4 blood knights, are good, but
are they
probably
game winning at 750 points? Probably
against
not.
like a brick of 40 goblins.
Well, I
Probably
mean,
not.
that's the other thing that we talked about. So there is a Night Goblin block that has 3 fanatics, and that's entirely within the rules for.
There are a couple. There's another one with 2 fanatics as well. And we did debate this, didn't we? Because we almost were going to go back and say he's got to go down to 2, but then again taking into consideration the entire 1,500 point force, we thought we'll leave it in as a tool. And if you charge at the one threat straight into the jaws of 3,
there's no one, again. So one unit is one thing. There is no one who's approached this and gone, great, we're going double orcs and goblins, and we're both taking 3 units of night goblins with 3 fanatics each. There's no one at all, in full fairness, who's done that. And where the night goblins exist, they are interwoven with the theme of all the lists that have taken them. So none of them look like this is a sore thumb unit. And it sticks out and it doesn't work. They are all integrated. So we try to consider all of that when we're thinking about lists. We're certainly not afraid of asking people to resubmit. However, we're the sort of people that, again, we appreciate if someone has an idea about something, because this is a narrative event, because we want theme and we want people invested in ideas and feelings about their lists. We'll talk to people, much as we have with a couple of people who came and submitted and said, well, what about this as an idea? Much as we did with Pete. So for anyone who looks at one of our events in the future, if you see that and want to come to the event and see something that might just stand in your way a little bit, talk to us. Like, we're reasonable human beings. That said, we alluded earlier to the prep work that's been going on
Mm.
for these, and I did say you've become a master terrain painter, and I meant it, because these, for all your humming and hawing and complaining to us about how it doesn't look the right tint and et cetera, these look amazing, Alex.
What's funny is the building on the right is like, you can see how badly glued that is.
No, you can't.
You can
No, you
feel the
can't.
lines, because no, I have to tell the story, else I have to tell the story because it's a learning for anybody out there as well. Where the building was printed perfectly, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to use super glue on this one. I'm going to go out and buy some like Tarzan's grip glue, which is strong, like super bond
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Not realizing that it dries like cement thick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So when I pressed it down, it was good, but then you're meant to clamp it,
Yes, so it doesn't
right?
expand. Yeah,
Doesn't expand, and so I came back overnight, and it had lifted as it had
yeah,
all
yeah,
hardened
yeah.
things. And I was like, oh no, and of course, could not take it take it off by then. So that was a quick learning, but otherwise, that building, so on the right, was my first attempt at using the sponge. Shout out to, I think it is a Swarm Painting, another
Yes,
Aussie channel.
yes. Who's
Who I
who's
don't,
his entire toolkit is a makeup sponge and a dry brush
yep,
and
and it's incredible.
yeah, it's and rubber gloves, and
Yeah,
that's all he uses, and he does
yep,
some insane
some
stuff.
insane stuff.
Yeah.
So can vouch for the sponge technique for painting buildings. Absolutely. There's a second one of these, which I probably will not have painted for the event, unfortunately, because I severely underestimated how long it would take to paint the other stuff. But the trees, so you can't, we've cut it off a bit. There are 5 sets of trees there. And again, the requirement for trees largely driven by logistics again, because one of the things we took from the last event was the terrain supply at Exiles, which is fantastic for if you want to turn up for one game to even 2 games.
Mm.
There is so much terrain, but if you if you want to run an event, plenty of terrain. We packed the boards, but we didn't have enough forests. So I took it upon myself to make sure that we have 5 additional forests plus the 2 that you and I bought 10 years ago,
Yonks ago.
15 years
Yeah.
ago. So we've got enough to at least combine with the terrain they've got there to add to the boards. And what was unplanned in all this were the burnt out, dilapidated, like Viking buildings down the
Which again
bottom.
looks so good.
Well, they came out as they're from Dark Realms, which is one of the 2 main terrain STL providers that I look at, and their stuff is fantastic.
Mm.
This set came out, and I thought immediately I'm going to go pick it up. And really, there's everything here was mostly painted by hand, outside of spraying wood ink, which I have somewhere here, Intense Wood.
Mm-hmm.
From scale 75. I'm sure there's plenty of other ink providers that can do that. And I have a sepia color somewhere to do the wood. In fact, that was the same wood formula I used on the trees,
Mm.
hoping that the trees being on the same board as the burnt out things is obviously these are the trees we got it from. Now, the blue kind of violet look was unplanned, but worked out well, mostly because I was like, oh, I wanted to do an undertone of the forest floors for the floral on the ground,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it was meant to be dark, and it came out very bright. And
It's
I thought, you
quite
know what?
vivid. Yeah.
It's very vivid. I'm just going to leave it. And if I had more time, I will probably go and just do a very light highlight of some
Mm.
of the flowers. so that you can have the different ones. But right now it can just be like glowing fungus or something. We'll
There's
go
not
with.
a person at the event on Saturday who's going to look at those and go, "Oh, I really wish he put some flowers on
Yeah,
those. Oh, just look. Oh, it's missing some. There's so much opportunity for
missing it.
no, no. Everyone's going to look at it and go, "Wow, look at this amazing terrain that Alex has spent the last 6 weeks putting together to make sure that our tables have a diversity of terrain that we can play
Yeah.
with." I think
I mean, it's good. I think if we're starting to do a lot more games in person
Mm, mm,
ourselves, our Garage Hammer, especially heading into winter down here. Having the terrain sets is there because being able to do have all 5 forests on the board rather than just
mm,
that standard 2
mm.
is going to be an important one. So I would like to add to this the trees, Alasdair, take about 25 hours to print, which is an enormous amount of time, mostly because every little spiddly
Yeah,
leaf and
yeah,
branch
yeah,
is a movement that
yeah.
it has
It
to
has to
do.
make. Yes,
Unlike the buildings, which are just printing in
yes,
rectangles and
yes.
hexagonals, that the trees, the first half of the tree takes 6 hours, 4 hours, and then the top half takes another 18 because of how many little movements.
I think your time is better spent, Alex, printing the rest of the Dark Elf Tower. That's where
It's just not. That's just not happening.
that's
That's just
what we need to
absolutely
do,
not happening.
because eventually my aspiration for us and the channel is to we are moving towards battle reports as Alex and Tom. You guys haven't debuted that one yet, have you? You haven't?
No, not
No.
yet. We
Okay.
have recorded
So
it. We have
yep,
recorded it, but we have not.
it hasn't popped up just yet. So Alex and Tom did a test battle report with some of our new tech, and trying to get a feel for what are the best camera angles and all the wonderful technical stuff that goes into producing battle reports, which is, I mean, it was very funny. We watched
The
or
draft.
rather someone sent around the Siege Studios office walkthrough a little while ago, and
No,
having a
no,
look
not
at,
not Siege.
was it
It
not
was
Siege? Who was it?
tabletop
Tabletop
tactics.
Tactics. That's right. The
Yeah, yeah.
Tabletop Tactics office walkthrough. And it was very funny to see all of these people working full time on editing and recording
With
and
massive
producing with
monitors. Yeah,
huge production
yeah.
spaces and everything else. And it is a bit of a behind the curtain moment to go, if you want this of a decent production quality, there's a lot of work that goes
Yeah.
into making it.
Well, but we should say those guys talking about tabletop tactics. They have made a resurgence back into recording old world
Mm,
battle reports. They started a narrative campaign, and the battle one is the first battle, I should say, is Bretonians defending basically a relic site,
mm,
and which is in a graveyard. And it's effectively the undead are coming to try and get the relic. And there's it's basically one night. I think there's 5 errantry knights, and then all peasants. Like the towns come out to defend it. It's probably 1,000 points, if that, maybe 750. It's great fun, but they've now got a series going. I'll very happily state that I think their second or third highest viewed video of all time is their
It's old
old
world.
world how to
Yeah.
play video. And so this is a channel that normally does 40K every day,
Mm-hmm.
and old world is getting more views than 40K. Just saying. I'm just saying.
There's a niche to be filled. But back to
Yeah.
my point.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we find ourselves in a position come winter, because of course, what we likely, just based on the experience of you and Tom doing that recording, I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to do very few battle reports through the summer, and then when it comes to winter, we'll probably do quite a few battle
Yeah.
reports. Just
We
by
can't
dint
do
of
them in summer.
no, just by dint of the space that we have to use and the conditions. And
Yeah.
nobody wants
unless
to get
there's
heat stroke.
Yeah, unless there's a studio that we can come, someone's got one that we can rent. But the other thing, Alistair, to call
Mm,
out, and this is I blame you for this,
yes.
very I aggressively blame you for this,
Go on.
but a slippery slope of getting into weather FX.
Oh,
So I wish I had brought the other one,
fancy that.
but I thought, well, Alistair's used them. He's done the snow effects. Now Tom's using them. I'll have a go. And I don't have them all, but this is the weathering effects environment for slimy, grime, dark, which I've used on literally every single one of those terrain pieces. Mostly because what I found is if it goes on pre-oil wash, it looks really good post oil wash. And it's just, this one's an acrylic one. I actually wholeheartedly to admit this, and you know me, I admit my mistakes all the time. Is that I when I ordered it, I didn't even think to check. I thought it was an enamel like grime product,
Sure.
and but I couldn't be happier because as an acrylic product, it goes on to create the mud. It's slightly satin effect, which is what they're going for in that kind of World War II mud. So when it goes onto it, and you can see it in the buildings, I've got it in the recesses, in some parts. Once it gets oil washed with a black, it really does turn into this like dried, damp, wet, dark mud effect, which is perfect for what I wanted it. Splash it around some of the rocks to make sure they're not so clean. You can see it on the burnt out buildings as well. The actual burnt effect in quotation marks is actually this with a dark brown and black oil over the top of it. So I couldn't shut that out. Then I got into pigments, which is that's another very slippery slope to go down. And have applied some of this to the building, but you can't really see it because it's almost the same color. So I've got a long way to go on learning how to use pigments, but couldn't be happier. Although I
It's
do still want to get the enamel grime.
it's depth, right? And
Yes.
the more you immerse yourself in the hobby, the more you realize how much depth matters.
Yeah.
And all
I
of
think
these
yeah.
Tom's a master of it.
Well,
Tom
Tom's video, if you go and watch it,
yeah.
about the ogre bases, basically it talks about depth a lot. It's like you got layer effect 1 on layer effect 2 plus extra before the model. And so when I do my next army, whatever that might be, I'll probably still do resin, like those resin design bases.
Bases, yeah.
Yeah. But add more effects to it.
But
So
it's all learning. And one of the easiest, I suppose, moral of the story for anyone out there who's struggled with basing or is stuck in the trap of I have, sand and I PVA glue it and dip it in the sand and that's about all I do. Checking out some of the texture effects that exist now, there are some stunningly easy ways that you can put a layer of a texture effect onto a base and end up with something that looks like you've spent hours crafting it. And so do check out all of the different ones that we've covered. Not that we get sponsored or plugs or anything from them, but we've had experience with AK terrains, we've had experience with Vallejo texture paints, we've had experience with everyone's had experience with Citadel texture paints, which continue to improve despite the fact that they're so expensive. All of them are great. You just have to be brave enough to sort of pick it up and try it and see how you can manipulate it, because some of them do require just a little bit of patience before you end up with the effects that you see other people doing. But that said, anyone who's around Exiles Gaming Club in Marrickville on Saturday, if you're not part of the event, you can absolutely feel free.
7th.
Saturday the 7th. This video will probably go out tomorrow if we can do the edit fast enough. But if you're around, come check it out. Come look at the terrain pieces that Alex has put together. Come say hi to Alex and I, who will be TOing the event as well. We'd love to see you, and love to have a chat about the old world. The last thing that I think we're going to talk about on this is something very, very exciting that Gummo from the Old World Fanatics has spoken about very recently, and he's allowed us to be the debut event for the Old World Rankings matching tournament software battle board. I'm sure. Does he have a term for it, Alex?
I think
Rather than me butchering it.
do you know, we didn't ask him, but I think it's going with old world rankings pairings. Let's just go
World
with that
Rankings
for now.
page. Fabulous.
Yeah.
So Gomo's been working on allowing tournament organizers to be able to set up their own events, run on a competitive platform that's acting like, one of the many, excuse me, not many, but the handful of platforms that are sort of being used at the moment, but making it a little bit more user-friendly, making it integrated with the old world rankings as well, looking at options for doing pairings, ELO pairings, so basing that on your rankings on old world rankings, looking at opportunities to do things, but also introducing teams setups and doubles setups for events to make it easier for people like us who want to run a non-standard event or a non-traditional event to still be able to use an amazing piece of software that is practically idiot proof. And for all Gomo's concerned that we see a bug here or there, we don't see the bug. And it looks amazing, is so fabulous. We're so excited to be running this on the weekend. For anyone who's interested, who's again there on the day, we're happy to have a chat with you about how it works. Gomo will undoubtedly talk about when it will go from being the sort of alpha product or beta product that it is at the moment into probably more broad testing, and then it becoming more available to the users of Old World Rankings. But it is amazing.
I'd honestly say it's past beta. We first had a chat to him about it, I feel like in early December, when
it was early December and I was in the bath.
that was literally the joke that he made. And I think I was on a call with Alasdair and he was in the bath.
In my defense, the
camera was off, thank God.
The camera was off. We don't have a bath in this house, and so when I get the opportunity to go to a hotel and hop in the bath, I'm going to hop in the bath. And if that means that I need to take a call in the bath,
it was fine. It was fine. But it definitely, I feel like in December when he wants to talk to us about the idea and get it lined up as a beta testing event, from that point to now, it's gone from what I had originally just anticipated to be, okay, like a behind the scenes testing system through to this fully customized program.
Yeah.
And our event is unique in some way because we use so much custom scoring or soft scores, if you want to use it that, which we include sportsmanship. We include thematic points.
Yeah.
We have narrative actions that score you points.
Yeah, the ultimate
all that
winners or the goals that you're working towards. It's not just who's won the most games. We've got a range of things, and thus we need to score those appropriately to reflect how people have gone towards them. So yeah,
and he took it upon himself to build that and to say, not only am I going to build a doubles system, I'm going to build a fully implemented, customized scoring system, which I have to say worked almost 100% out of the gates.
It's a dream to play around in, and I'm very excited.
5 minutes to set up.
I'm very excited on behalf of other tournament organizers and on behalf of Gomo to just see how well people respond to it. I mean, he's done some things like he's built in an AI, what are they called? An agent that basically will pick up details from your players pack. So you
Yep.
don't need to manually put in every single detail. You can run your eye over and verify it, but you drag and drop your players pack in. The agent will look through your players pack. It will populate the details of the tournament. It will give you timeframes. It will give you maps. It will give you everything that you've put in there. It's
Yep.
amazing.
Yep. And I probably the biggest thing for me is the handling of tickets and payments.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like when we started back into the old world, when people were like, here's my PayPal ID, I'm sitting there going, oh, really? Are we still, sending cash to old mate, for the event? Whereas now in the system, a TO, well, we're not using it on
For this
Saturday
event, yeah.
just yet for this event. Our purpose and test is everything else. But the full vision, and we're not blowing his lead here at all, is set up the event. Players sign up through Old World Rankings, can pay through Old World Rankings. It's hooked into Stripe in the back end, so the TOs can manage payments with just simple verification checks. Take the payment. There's cutoff dates for refunds.
Mm-hmm.
There's the ability to open up sign-ups to specific groups.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do like open tickets up earlier. I think this is probably the biggest thing to happen to Old World Rankings above its purpose as a ranking site more than
Definitely.
anything. So on Saturday, yep, we'll be driving the software. We will be driving the old classic Excel spreadsheet as well. I don't think we're going to have to need it. If we do have any brave people that want to volunteer to test out the mobile scoring, then Gomo is asking for volunteers. I've accepted on behalf of Chris and Tom without even consulting them, and probably Paddy Brown as well, I think.
But that's
When he
that's
turns up.
that's an interesting point that you make that we didn't cover. So one of the other goals of this is also to put your score sheet on your phone as opposed to you having to fill out a physical piece of paper. So
Yeah.
rather than you having to scribble stuff down and TOs having to collect it and look through it, there's the goal of having you being able to put your scores in, having a verification between you and your opponent that all scores are correct, and then that going to the TO for them to be able to instantly get your results, have whatever details updated for them, take the busy work out of scoring, and make sure that you're in between round times, which are always slowed down by the TO having to manually input
Always.
data, manually do pairings, that all of that can be done in the blink of an eye by dint of just having an integrated platform. And it is, I've said exciting 100 times, but it is so exciting to be able to see that and have it removed, because that extra 20 minutes at the end of each round could make a huge difference in terms of anyone looking at doing more than 3 games on a particular day, right? Getting to the end of your game, popping your scores in, having everything closed off. 2 minutes later, you've got your next pairing and you can move on to your game rather
I
than
mean,
waiting 25 minutes.
exactly. I had not even considered that point, but you're right. It would probably cut in between round times down outside of going and getting a coffee and things like that by half at least. And before anyone jumps out and says, but what about verification, etc.? Everything is two-step verification. In fact, Gomo showed it to me literally 10 minutes before we recorded this podcast because he's super excited to make sure that it's a great product to be used. By the way, he's flying to Fiji on Friday. And I said, seriously, mate, like, he's like,
It's fine
just
as it
ping
is.
me. Just ping me on WhatsApp. I'm like, I'm not going to be pinging you on WhatsApp when you're sitting on a beach in Fiji drinking a pina colada, and you're going to have to explain to your wife that, oh, I just got to jump on to fix this bug. I'm like, we will figure it out.
It
Don't
will be
worry.
fine.
Yeah, I like to think, Alistair, that we're not inept in our execution. I shouldn't have said that because now it's going to really fail. No, I've just jinxed us hardly. But what coming back to my train of thought is that everything's double verified. So in the mobile scoring, if I'm playing you, I submit the score. There's like a primary scorer. Says, okay, yep, don't worry, mate. I'll do the scores, do the VPs, etc. It then will go to you, and you can only see that on your one, where you just verify the points are correct. In our instance, you would do your sports scoring if that was optional at the event that you were running, and then it goes to the tournament organizer to be approved. And in my view, I'm sitting there going, well, if both players have hit approve, I don't need to double check that. The only ones that I need to follow up are if one person's approved and the other person's pending, as an example.
Mm.
And then the rest don't need
Or
to
if a
worry about.
suspicious pattern emerges with one
Exactly.
person getting
Exactly.
consistent something or
Yeah.
others. Yeah, but
Super exciting. Super exciting.
it's very exciting. And like I said, if you're at the event on the weekend and you're a burgeoning TO yourself, we'd be more than happy to show you some of the back end of it as well. Gomo will, of course, keep everyone informed as to when the product finally becomes available, and what that means.
Don't think it's going to be long.
I don't think it will be long either. But it's very exciting for Old World Rankings. It's very exciting for us to be the debut event for this pairings system as well. We will very proudly wear that and test it to its absolute limits with our weird scoring system.
With our weird
and,
scoring system.
And
which,
introducing,
yeah.
we literally had a conversation about buys, I think, earlier today. Because, of course, when you're in a doubles event, there's more than just one team doesn't turn up as a potential consequence for a buy. So Alex rightly pointed out, well, okay, if a team doesn't turn up, then we're okay because one of us can sub in. Because Alex and I are both there, we're going to be doing it together. One of us can sub in and play some format against the other team so that it's a buy game. It could be interesting. It could be different. But what happens if one member of one team doesn't turn up and there's still one person there who still wants to play a game, and we get another team that goes and doesn't turn up? So suddenly we're left with odd number teams, and one of those teams has one person on it as opposed to two people. And these are all things that the system is going to have to accommodate for when we look at how we address doing pairings, doing buys, everything else on the day. And so we're very much, I mean, hopefully we don't have anything complicated like that. Hopefully it's just an even number of teams. We don't have to worry about mucking around with it.
Well, last time it did happen, but we had two teams drop one person, so it's easy to pair them into one.
Yes. And if we were using this system, that's a very easy process of disbanding said team and dragging other individuals into a brand new team. So
yeah,
Gomo's thought of it. It's there.
Thought about it. Yeah. So he's aiming for singles, doubles, and
teams.
I think we're allowed to say this. Yeah.
It was on there. It was on there already.
Yeah. Okay. 3 and 5. So, again, very excited. I think he's pseudo sponsoring our event, Alasdair.
This is true. We were talking
his gratitude, and now that we're saying it live on air, we're going to press him to lock in his vouchers as a bit of a random door prize. Talking about which, we didn't speak about it. We will be handing out a gift with purchase as we come in. So,
do you have any examples?
I do, and here they are. Here is the Old World Behemoths, not patented, patented, I should say. Dry brush pad. So, for those aspiring painters out there who don't know what a dry brush pad is, when you're sitting there getting the paint on, and someone says, "I'll just put it on a paper towel," or what's the other one? Put it on your skin. What a dry brush pad does is it allows you, here's an example, to use the textures of the print itself to mimic the edges that you'll be highlighting. So you can keep brushing it until you get to the exact point
Yep.
that you know
Yep.
that you can put it on the model to pick up the edges.
No more smushing just that little bit of extra paint, unfortunately, onto the model. No more brushing off your brushes until there's no paint left and then going to dry brush and going, why isn't this working? Nothing like that. A dry brush pad that allows you, is exactly as Alex said, it allows you to perfectly mimic using the textures of the pad what you need to do. And the beauty of it is that it's as easy to clean, call it cleaning, but it's easy to reset as just doing a light spray of primer over the top.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
suddenly you're back in a position where you can reuse that pad in whatever format that you want. So correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but every attendee of Saturday's event is going to get an Old World Behemoths dry brush pad.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then we've got you've been working on some amazing trophies that we won't share here, but some very, very amazing trophies, which I'm excited to see because they're such cool trophies. But
I was skeptical when they were suggested, and now that I've seen them, I've gone, it couldn't be more perfect.
we should give Tom one just to see how he paints it. To be perfectly honest, I want Tom to do like a whole painting series on one of these trophies.
We'll make sure to get some videos of it.
Yes. Then, as far as other prizes go, we also have our best team prize, which will be receiving a suitable event to commemorate their partnership, friendship, and Alex is smirking because he knows what it is, and the beauty of the bond between our best friends award, and then of course we have our standard awards for the overall highest score, our best sports, our best theme as well. I'm super. It's really strong contenders at the moment, so we haven't settled on any particular one is in the lead. We're going to need to see armies. We're going to need to see costumes. We're going to need to see who's there on the day, really making the 10 out of 10 effort. But yeah, lots of prize support still again for the day. Really unique stuff that you're not going to get anywhere else. So it's gonna be a really good day. And then I'm just gonna check the weather literally right now. Fortunately,
And I better
Exiles,
check that our payment account is still active.
that too. Fortunately, Exiles is air conditioned. It does look like it's going to be 30 degrees here in Sydney on Saturday. Rainy and humid, which is going to be disgusting. But again, Exiles has air conditioning. Kudos to Event Spaces for having air conditioning. No more sweaty battle bunkers for us.
Very manageable.
Very, very manageable. But I think that's it. Otherwise, we're just going to
I
keep
think so.
talking in circles about the event and otherwise. Hope you've enjoyed a bit of a sneak peek into our Legacies of War II event coming this Saturday, February 7th, 2026. We cannot wait to see so many of these amazing armies and amazing teams with their armies on the field. We can't wait to see Alex's terrain out and about. We've got a big day of narrative storytelling, of wild cards, of weird and wonderful stuff happening to our events as our players as they play a day's worth of Warhammer: The Old World, and it's going to be super fun. So we will leave you there. As always, thank you so much if you've been watching all the way to the end. If you would like to become a patron of the show, you will find the Patreon link in the show notes or description wherever you might happen to be listening or watching this episode. We very much appreciate you. You help us keep the lights on, help us manage our Riverside costs, and you also help us run events like the one that we're going to run on the weekend. And the more patrons that we have, I will say, the more it enables us to think about running more and more of these events over the year. So big thank you to all of our patrons. Big thank you to everyone who's watched thus far. We will have another episode probably in a week or two. We're going to talk about the FAQ changes. We're going to talk about a few things upcoming as well. And the local event series here in Sydney, the Old Hammer, which has just released
Their next pack
for their event in March, I believe it is.
I was just thinking, I think it's 6 weeks away.
It's not far.
It's not far.
So lots of things for us to talk about and lots of potential complaints for us to make, but we're going to save that for the next episode 21.
I don't think there are any for that. More like, how is Alex going to fit a large demon on a small base this time?
I don't think anyone needs to really imagine that. We've seen how you've done it. I think it's going to be more around how did someone manage to get 2 soul grinders into a list.
I don't know.
But
next episode on
little
Dragon
teaser
Ball Z.
for the next episode of Old World Behemoths. But again, thank you so much for watching. We will catch you next time.
See ya.